intro lick to our A progression, A, D, and E. Now we're going to do a little steel stuff over the A, the D, and the E chords, and put it all in context. This is a really fairly easy thing to do, but it just sounds really good over these chords. So what we want to do is we want to analyze the A section first, and then D, and then E, and then we'll kind of put it all together. The first part of this line is, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my A chord at the 5th fret, again as a reference point, and I'm going to play the top part of this A triad on the G and B strings. And what that gives me is the E note on the B at the 5th fret and the C sharp on the G string at the 6th fret. I'm kind of sliding into that. So the whole thing kind of sounds like this. So what's going on is I go from the A chord. When I go down a whole step, I move my first finger to the 3rd fret, my second finger to the 4th fret, and I'm looking at this. Once again, is that A or G over A kind of chord, sus suspended type thing. So I'm using the top part of that G triad as well. So that's a good way to reference that too. So it's okay. Now obviously this is the top diad or top part of this A chord in the 2nd fret. We've used many times. So that gives me the first part of the A section. Now I'm going to lead into the D section here. Now this is a chromatic, this is going to be a half step kind of thing where I'm going a half step down into the D chord. Now the D chord I'm actually targeting is this one, which is part of all that. That's one big chord right there, but you can break it into 3 triad shapes there. But it's the middle triad shape, the one starting on the F sharp, that I'm targeting as far as when I approach the D chord. This is very important in playing music, or improvising, or even understanding music in general. You really want to be thinking about the chord that's coming up. You want to know you're playing over A, and then all of a sudden you know the D chord's coming. So you want to phrase in such a way that by the time the D chord gets here, you're on chord tones that settle best with the chord, and it continues your phrase evenly and smoothly. It's a hard thing to do. It's a challenging thing to do. You have to think about it a lot, and you have to practice it a lot. But the goal here would be, after the A section, that little half step right there, which is minor thirds. Now, here's the thing. I'm only really going to play the F sharp and the A note. So you can actually look at it like I'm targeting this triad, or it's the top part of this one. But that puts me into the D section. Very nicely. And then I'm going to accentuate the D section by, if we move up to the 5th fret, there's a D chord here, we're all familiar with. And if you look at the top 2 diads at the 7th fret, I have D obviously, and then I have F sharp. And I'm actually going to start at the 6th fret and go slide into that, but I use my first finger. So the phrase so far is A section, D. So the D section is really just two little diads, or 2 little minor thirds. Kind of thing, right? It's a major third. Then I'm going to use my pickup idea that I used in the intro, except I'm going to, first of all, it's going to be a whole step down coming from D to E, leading into the next chord, which we've talked about is important, knowing that E chord's coming up. So I'm going to walk up chromatically. So at the 7th fret, playing that D note and the F sharp note, down a half step. And that's still part of the D section. That hasn't really gotten to the E section until I move up one more fret. Now I'm in the E chord, and it's really just a simple two note, one finger idea. Okay, so that gets us up to the E section. So that so far is D section, E. Now at this point,